Today I'm going to be talking about keeping the mice out. So we've been having a mouse problem in the house, and I'm pretty sure it's the weeping holes in the brick that are causing it. That's these things. Now you need to have them. It allows for moisture transfer between inside the brick and outside the brick, so you don't want to plug them, but you need to block them to keep the rodents out. Now clearly it's not this specific one that's causing the problem. This is about 3.5 feet off the ground. But we do have ones that are along the ground all the way around the house. Now you can buy things to put in here. There's a brand called Rideau Mice. You can buy them on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description if you want to check them out, but it can get expensive. I counted how many I'd need all around the house, and it's close to 100. And so that would get pretty expensive fast. So what I'm going to do is make my own. So I've had this stuff. It's a wire mesh, a galvanized wire mesh. I've had it in my garage for a few years, so I'm going to put it to use. Now, essentially, what I'm going to do is cut pieces in it that will end up like this, that I can shove in the hole, which will severely restrict the size of any opening that a mouse could get through. So I'll show you how I did it. So before we get started, we need to measure the brick. This is 2 3/4 inches high, and the opening is about 1/2 inch. I'm not sure if we can count on that being consistent around the whole house, but I'm sure it'll be pretty close. Now I also have this piece of wood. This is 3/8 of an inch, intentionally a little bit smaller. It'll help us bend the mesh to the right size and make the front of it square. Now to get started cutting, we need to measure how much we need. We measured 2 3/4 inches as the height of the brick, so that's how much mesh we need. And I'm just going to count how many sections that is. In my case, that's 7. And then I'm going to cut across 5, which is about 2 inches. Just make sure it's an odd number, and I'll show you why in a moment. Now, the number of sections may differ depending on what size of mesh you get. This is 3/8 of an inch openings. If you're going to buy some, I suggest you get at the maximum 1/4 inch. Of course, smaller the better. It'll keep more out. Now, this is why we wanted an odd number, is so that the middle line can go right on the top of the piece of wood, and then you can bend down over the sides, and that keeps that one bar right in the middle in the front. And that gives us a nice square front. We're also going to cut off the corners because many of the openings will have some excess mortar in the top or bottom, and that will make it easier to fit them in. Now you will probably find that some of the openings are narrower than others. You can use just a thinner piece of wood to bend some over, so you can take a look around your house and see how often you're going to need that, if at all, and make what you need accordingly. So now that you know how to make them, set yourself up a little workstation and cut all the ones that you need to do. It took me about 1.5 hours to cut 95 of them, and that was with a couple of breaks. Keep yourself a box too to put them all in, and mark down on the box how many you have as you put them in. That way you're not recounting them constantly. So now that we've got it made, we can put it in. So squeeze the sides just enough that it will fit into the opening, and then we can just kind of shove it the rest of the way. Now you might have to squeeze certain parts to make it fit, especially around the bottom and the top where there's extra mortar in there, but just work it in. And if you need some help, we can pull out that board again and use that to kind of shove it in there. It's a good tool to use that won't mess up the front of it. Will keep it square. Of course, it doesn't have to be flush with the brick. If you don't want it to, you can shove it in there as far as you want. The point is to stop things from getting from outside into inside. Now you may also find that some have so much mortar in the top or bottom that you can't fit the whole thing in. In that case, you'll have to cut off the top and the bottom. So make sure you keep your tin snips on you as you go around your house. Funny enough, the very next day, out of this opening near the corner of our house, we caught a snake. It got caught in the mesh. Now, the way it was caught in the mesh, it looks like it was actually inside the house already, and I trapped it in when I put the mesh in the hole. So it can definitely stop things, which is what I want, and so it'll make sure that nothing's going to get in now that that snake is out. So I'm happy with it so far. It's already proven valuable. So thanks for watching, guys, and if you do this yourself, let me know in the comments. I always appreciate knowing if I've helped somebody.